Hello and welcome to this episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show and podcast. I am your host, Christine Innes, and I'm delighted to have the very beautiful Andi joining me. Welcome, lovely. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Christine. You look so glamorous today. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
I'm excited, and I just want to say thank you so much. You submitted one of the most amazing blog entries that we've had, and I read it, I'm like, I need to chat to this girl even more and find out more, because I think as busy women as well and entrepreneurs, health is something that always goes to the wayside.
Yeah, so I am a certified food, lifestyle and wellness coach, and I've also written 8 books. They're all about health. My latest one is called Connected, a paradigm shift in how we view health. It's really the ultimate holistic health guide. But what was it about the blog that, really interested you when you, read it?
I think the biggest thing is I've gone on a health journey myself, and, it's one of those things that we've just never really put to the front of mind. And, I'm a mum, I've got, a couple of businesses now, but when I worked in corporate, it was just sort of like we're on the go all the time. And to actually stop and to think about the impact that can have later as well. It just really brought back a lot of things for me. And I'm like, okay, we need to actually really start talking about it and really addressing it a lot more.
Love that. I love that for you. And I love that we get to share this now with the listeners. And instead of perhaps being the corporate escapists, we could be the corporate connectors, if you like.
Yes, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, it's all about not like having to escape when it becomes overwhelming and we're multitasking, and as you say, we're on the go, but it's all about coming back to self and reconnecting. And that's what wellness is really about as well, because we really do have all the answers within us if only we listen. And it's such a cliche phrase. And a little disclaimer right now too, if there is some sort of illness or health challenge that you have going on for you and it is chronic, then this is by no means a diagnosis or a treatment or cure for you in this advice. It's just purely educational and to inspire you. But having said that, I have been teaching wellness for 30 years now in Australia and in America on all the live shows, New York Live, KTLA, CBSLA, Good Day DC, you name it. And I've been going on with the contents of my books over the past 5, 6, 7 years. I've now got 8 books. I'm writing my 9th. And the thing is, there is a need for wellness information. So if I've been teaching for 30 years, I'm going to be 72 next year. So just kidding.
I love it.
I just throw that in there to see if everyone's awake and listening. No, I'm going to be 49 in July. And, I just really am on a crusade to help people understand how to live a better quality of life naturally. Yeah. And that the slowing of the aging process, boosting immunity, and all of those wonderful things are actually the byproduct of being well. That's the main thing, is it needs to be the byproduct, because I will say a healthy body looks different on every person.
Yeah, it certainly does. And I think one of the key things that I've learned over the last sort of couple of years is that what works for one person is not going to work for the next. And you've really got to be in tune with your body and listen to it, and then go, okay, that's the sign or whatever. Somebody introduced me to the 3 signs. You get the feather, you get the brick, or you get the Mack truck. Now, I had the Mack truck 7 years ago and, completely fell flat in my face. Whereas now I'm starting to learn those little signs, going, okay, well, when do I need to take a day off? When do I need to just slow down to rejuvenate? Because we do live such really amazingly busy lives.
Yeah, so slowing down needs to be the new normal. I've been creating that, for so many years. Also, just with one of my books was actually a book about dating apps, and, swipe life became faster than speed dating. And I wanted to create that slow dating movement, but slowing down is so healthy because we are multitaskers as women, and so we can do it all and at the same time. However, it's not always healthy. So doing one thing at a time is really healthy, and you are preaching to the choir, girl, when you talk to me about, listening to your body and looking at the signs and symptoms. And that's just because this is a real wellness approach. So let's just have a look at the 2 different models of care, which is what I talk about in my book, connected, the paradigm shift in how we view health. You've got one model of care, which is the medical model, the allopathic model, and that is a reactive approach. You wait till something's broke, then you fix it with the best doctors, drugs, and surgeons around. Then you have the wellness model of care, and that is a holistic approach, and it's more, I guess, proactive in its approach. So you don't wait till something's broke to fix. And you're also looking at your body as being in a state of dis-ease when you do something about it. You don't wait till it becomes disease. The other one is obviously not just reactive, but also mechanistic in its approach. It's not holistic. It doesn't acknowledge that the knee bone is connected to the thigh bone and everything is connected, hence the title of my book. But even the World Health Organization states that the definition of health is not merely the absence of symptoms or infirmity and disease. It's a state of optimal function. So when you are listening to your body and you're seeing a sign, it's really important to act on that and to really, use that symptom as a blessing and look at this as the wellness response as opposed to the illness response. Oh my gosh, I need to mask it with a drug. Now, sometimes, you know, that we're only human and we leave things for too long, and that's where we need allopathy. The interesting thing, though, I'd like to point out is that we need both, because they call one alternative medicine and the other one Western medicine or normal medicine, but it's not an alternative because we need both. I'd rather call it complementary medicine.
Absolutely. And I think it's starting to become more, you know, widely accepted. You know, doctors are talking, you know, about, well, how are you eating? Like what foods you're putting in your body, you know, like your lifestyle, all those sorts of things. Whereas I wish I knew that, you know, well, probably not 7 years ago, because I think I needed to learn it more like 9-10 years ago before I hit that burnt out and, you know, became sick and started to, you know, do things more holistically. Like now I meditate every day because you know, it's for me, it's like clarity, it's peace, it's calm, like all those different things. So it's amazing of what people are doing, and just having these conversations now is bringing it to the forefront so much more.
Yeah, and I'm so glad we're finally having these conversations in this wellness revolution that I saw coming even 16 years ago. And now the wellness revolution is in full swing. And it's interesting that you talk about nutrition because, you know, you can have the greatest nutrition, the best organic food, but if your body isn't in a state of homeostasis and optimal function, which is what we were talking about, the World Health Organization saying it needs to be in a state of optimal function on every level, including social level, which is why even this is so important. But you may as well be peeing your nutrition out. So you have to make sure that your nervous system is working well and your brain. So I'd love to talk about brain health and also the hormones, and then of course the gut health, which is the second brain. But the reason why I want to talk about the brain and the nervous system is, you know, I worked with the chiropractic profession for a very long time. I, in 2009, also got acknowledged with an award by the Chiropractors Association of Australia for my dedication to the profession in public education, because it's such a misunderstood profession. You know, chiropractors restore communication from brain down the spinal cord and the nerves that branch off that to the rest of the body, because it's through our nervous system that we perceive the world, adapt to stress, and coordinate all bodily functions. So our nervous system is our master controller. And so now finally, brain health is the new gut health. You know, we really need to acknowledge that, yes, the gut's the second brain. What about the actual brain? And Nootropics is a company or a market rather that I am hugely interested in, because nootropics are the smart drugs. And it's going to be in 2024 estimated US $6 billion if it continues. And that's, I think it is. There are, you know, nootropics supplements coming out all the time. But I have discovered this one called Brain by Nootropics. And they're Australia's leading nootropics company because they were the first to be TGA listed. And there's 12 stacked ingredients in here: B6, B12, tyrosine, Pinus pinus stem bark. You may not know what, you know, some of these things are, but they enhance cerebral blood flow, which is really important. But what's more important is the combination. It's so important to be really transparent with ingredients these days, but also the combination of ingredients that work together to enhance cognitive function is so key. I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people are experiencing brain fog. So that's why this is so good. Have you been feeling brain fog ever since the pandemic?
Look, I have been very fortunate that like I have a pretty good like sort of work life, but I know so many other people are getting that because they feel confined. They just haven't been able to even get fresh air, like, you know, and all that sort of stuff. I'm very fortunate. I live in nature. So,
Yes.
you know, I've got that benefit, but I know so many people have been going, I'm just run down. I'm just tired constantly, or just can't even have the thought patterns.
Yeah, so it's
that they
definitely
used to
the
have.
lifestyle, as you say, and being connected with nature to negate some of the effects of the EMFs or the electromagnetic fields that's surrounding us. You know, the environmental pollution is one huge epidemic. And yeah, brain fog, even from people who have apparently experienced COVID. There was a Harvard study done recently, 22 to 32% of people that had been recovering from COVID are experiencing brain fog. The nootropics help. The beauty of that is it's not actually a drug. It's when they call it a smart drug, it's all natural. So that's what I'm about, optimizing, you know, health and function in the body naturally without any of the crashes and come downs. I don't even have caffeine because a lot of people are using caffeine as an upper, but then you need the downer of alcohol and so on it goes. Yeah. So wouldn't it be wonderful to have a body that's functioning optimally and yeah, you're naturally being synchronized with things like the lunar cycle. You can fall asleep properly. You can wake up at sunrise. That's great for our circadian rhythms. You going out into nature or living with nature is key. It's just, yeah, I think a habit that we have been thrust in front of technology because of the lockdowns. Yeah. And it's really important to go, well, hang on a second. It's so great that it gives us the flexibility and freedom to work remotely or from home and be with our families more. But we need to set time limits to that and go out and make conscious efforts to get amongst community and especially nature with earthing.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say for somebody who is just starting on a wellness journey? Where would they start?
You know, I would just love to say chiropractic care. The average person that is having a chiropractic adjustment in Australia is 32, I think the study was, and that's just like far too long to have your first chiropractic checkup then when we've got physical, chemical and emotional stressors that can impact our spine and nervous system. And, you know, even some of the physical ones, easy to understand, could be the birthing process itself with intervention, forceps and suction and even just coming out all floppy and loose and not releasing that tension through an elective cesarean or a cesarean if someone had to have a birth that way. And then you've got like bumps and falls, and if the twig's bent, so the tree grows. We've got car accidents and things like that. But then we've also got the environmental stressors that we were talking about, chemical stressors like drugs, medication, toxins in our personal hygiene products, and, you know, pollutants and chemicals sprayed on our non-organic foods. So there are so many different stressors that impact our nervous system. And so starting at having chiropractic checkups would be a great place for optimal health, because I think everybody else knows about movement, knows about nutrition, and yet the one thing that we forget about is our posture, you know, and that is the window to your health.
Yes. Look, one of the benefits, like I've got a puppy, and one of the good benefits of it is I have to go and regularly take her for walks. So like getting up, you know, but when I remember working back in corporate, I was literally stuck in a cubicle for such a long period of time. And now saying that, you know, seating is actually the new smoking. It's the new epidemic.
It really is. I mean, so we've got sleep and we've got technology, and then we've also got being sedentary, and we spend up to 8 hours a day in front of our technology, and that's just far too long. Some people spend even more than 8 hours a day. So yeah, definitely getting up and moving at least once an hour for 5 minutes. I get asked to speak at all sorts of corporate companies, and that's the one thing we do is after we've been chatting for, you know, half an hour to an hour, I get everybody up and moving and just use that as an example. So it's important to learn how to stretch your spine, to move your spine, to make sure that you have mobility. Chiropractors can help you with that. You know, I'm not even sure if people know that in Australia you can have 5 free visits through an EPC plan. It's a care plan that your GP can write for you through Medicare. If you have chronic neck and back pain, let's face it, we all do, because we've never seen a chiropractor before. So go to your doctor and actually ask them for those 5 free visits and make use of it. But then most people have private healthcare insurance as well, so go and make use of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is the next book all about?
Oh gosh, this morning I was procrastinating and I was talking to a girlfriend who's kind of, she's the demographic, and I realized people need it. It's actually dealing with disappearance. It's kind of a ghosting book. And yeah, it's like not just ghosting in relationships, but even in business. People feel really sort of disheartened and upset when people just vanish into thin air after having a conversation with someone, and it's usually obviously online. So I think this is going to be a bit of a fun one, but also a really healing one for some, because you can have healthy closure, but it doesn't always have to come from that person that's vanished. It can come from within you.
Absolutely. I think it's so needed. And especially, as we keep saying, we're all living these busy lives, and it's just trying to put those priorities right and to get it through. What is the next big thing for you? Obviously, you've got your book coming out. What's next for Andi?
I would love to have my own podcast like yourself. So that's on the list of things to do when I get off from this call, believe it or not. The other thing is I've just secured an O1 visa for the United States of America.
Wow.
And that's a huge deal. It means that the government has recognised that I'm an expert in my field and that I'm of extraordinary talent. That's the type of visa that it is. So hopefully I'll be working there from June this year. Yep. And expanding my reach and helping more people in the US. Who knows? If it doesn't work out, it's been an amazing adventure, and then we just come back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I love what you're doing. I think that this is a conversation that really needs to get out there, and I'm really just appreciative of your time and sharing all of your wealth of knowledge with us today. So thank you so much for that.
Gosh, we could talk all day. I just want to let you know, if you want to get my book, it's on my website, andilew.com. But also, if anyone wants to try the Eutropics, it's on eutropics.com.au. It's spelled YOO. And use my code. You get 20% off. It's Andi20.
Beautiful. We're going to pop all those links below so that everyone can listen or watch this, so they can be able to connect with you. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing your beautiful knowledge with us. I really do appreciate it.
Anytime. Stay well and be inspired.
Absolutely. Thank you to everyone who has joined us for this episode. If you have liked it, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. For any questions, pop them in the comments below. And to remember to live life to the fullest every single day. Love and light to you all.